I woke up thinking I'd missed something important. That feeling. Like when a meeting has started without you, or a joke lands and everyone laughs while you're still trying to find the premise. The ceiling tiles were unfamiliar. The light too white. My mouth tasted like copper and plastic. Somewhere to my left, a machine made a patient, rhythmic sound that felt oddly personal, like it was keeping time just for me. A nurse noticed my eyes were open and smiled in a practiced way. She said my name as if we already knew each other. She told me I was lucky. She told me I'd been asking for water. She told me my phone was in the drawer. When I finally got it into my hands, the screen was already alive. The family group chat had been busy. At first, I didn't register what I was seeing. Just color, sunlight, a blur of movement. Then my sister's name attached to a photo. A white robe, a flute of champagne, a caption about much-needed self-care. Another photo followed. 3 of them this time, my parents included, smiling into the camera with the kind of relaxed faces people get when nothing is wrong. I scrolled back. The timestamps lined up neatly with the hours I'd been unconscious. Nobody had shown up. Nobody had asked where I was, not in the chat anyway. There was one message from me, sent sometime before the crash, half a sentence about running late. It sat there unanswered, quietly irrelevant. I told myself it didn't mean anything, that they didn't know how bad it was, that hospitals make everything sound dramatic, that adults are allowed to take weekends away. I told myself all of this with the careful neutrality of someone negotiating with their own disappointment. The nurse came back to check my vitals. She asked if anyone would be visiting later. I said maybe. The word came out smaller than I intended. Days passed in increments measured by medication schedules and meal trays. The gown never stayed closed properly, no matter how many times I adjusted it. Every time I shifted, I was reminded of how temporary and exposed my body felt, how dependent. My phone stayed mostly quiet. A few thumbs-up reactions appeared under the spa photos, as if acknowledging them required effort that concern did not. I didn't comment. I didn't confront. I didn't perform hurt. I let the silence stretch, partly out of pride, partly out of exhaustion. A social worker stopped by on the 3rd day. She asked gentle, logistical questions. Who would be helping me at home? Who should be listed as an emergency contact? I answered efficiently. I softened my responses without lying outright. I was good at that. Something in her expression shifted, not alarm, exactly, but attention. She nodded, made notes, thanked me. Systems have a way of recording absence without judgment. The night my phone exploded with missed calls, I was half asleep. 64 notifications stacked like an accusation. Voicemails I didn't listen to. Then one message from my dad, sent minutes earlier. Call us back now. The serious. I stared at it longer than necessary. The urgency felt inverted, like a mirror held up too late. I didn't rush. I didn't rehearse. I waited until the room was quiet again, until the beeping machine felt steady, almost companionable. I answered. They were all talking at once. Concern layered over confusion, layered over something that sounded like fear. Questions tumbled out. Why hadn't I said more? Why didn't they know? How bad was it, really? I let them talk. I noticed how remorse sounds when it arrives late. Louder, less precise, eager to be recognized. Halfway through my dad's sentence, the door opened. A clinician stepped in, glanced at me, then at the phone in my hand. She waited until there was a pause. I need to clarify a few things, she said, her voice calm, firm, unmistakably professional. She explained my discharge plan. She referenced paperwork already completed. She asked who, specifically, would be responsible for follow-up care, since none had been present during the hospitalization. The line went quiet. I didn't fill the silence. I watched the light shift across the wall. I felt something settle in my chest. Not satisfaction, not revenge, just alignment, reality matching record. After the call ended, the room felt larger. Not emptier, just mine again. Apologies came later, more carefully worded this time. Explanations, too. I read them without responding right away. I understood them. Understanding didn't undo anything. On discharge day, I folded the hospital gown neatly before handing it back. I put on my own clothes, slow and deliberate. The mirror showed someone a little thinner, a little steadier. Someone who knew now where the gaps were. They would call again. I knew that. I would decide later how much access felt safe. For now, it was enough to walk out under my own power, uncelebrated, intact, and no longer waiting to be noticed.